Dr. Kr'thaal of the Zynth Collective leaned back in their nutrient chamber, their photoreceptive tendrils flickering with disbelief. The galactic census data was clear, yet it defied all logic. Across the vast expanse of the galaxy, species struggled to balance survival and reproduction. Yet one species stood out in stark defiance of the norm: humans. Dr. Kr'thaal's appendages hovered over the holographic display, filtering and refiltering the data. It wasn't a mistake. Humans, originating from a small blue planet called Earth, had an unparalleled reproductive success rate. Their population growth, combined with their ability to thrive in diverse environments, was unlike anything ever recorded. Most species had strict reproductive cycles, limited by environmental constraints, biological requirements, or societal customs. Humans seemed to ignore all such boundaries. "Impossible," Kr'thaal murmured, their vocal modulators translating the phrase into the audible frequencies of the empty laboratory. The Zynth, a highly logical and sterile species, had always prided themselves on understanding the universe through patterns and predictability. Yet this anomaly challenged their understanding of evolutionary constraints. The scientist expanded the galactic reproductive matrix, comparing humans to species renowned for their fecundity. The Kr'thaal, for example, laid millions of eggs at once, but their young were so fragile that only a fraction survived. The sturdy grellins reproduced once every few decades, dedicating immense resources to each offspring's development. Humans, by contrast, produced offspring in moderate numbers, yet their survival rate was astonishingly high. What baffled Dr. Kr'thaal further was the apparent lack of specialization in human reproduction. Their gestation period was short enough to allow population growth, but long enough to ensure developmental stability. Their young required years of care, yet the species had evolved societal structures to ensure this care was shared and optimized. Parents, extended family, and even unrelated members of their communities contributed to the raising of offspring. This collective effort was a concept alien to the Zynth, who valued individual achievement above all else. Dr. Kr'thaal activated the laboratory AI, a sophisticated construct designed to verify findings. "Run a secondary analysis on human fertility metrics," they commanded. The AI responded with its characteristic monotone efficiency. Analysis complete. Human reproductive success is attributed to a combination of biological resilience, environmental adaptability, and social cooperation. Anomalous factors include emotional bonding and innovation in overcoming reproductive challenges. Emotional bonding, Kr'thaal repeated, their tendrils trembling with confusion. The concept of emotions influencing reproductive success was as alien to the Zynth as the humans themselves. In their own species, reproduction had been abandoned millennia ago, replaced by cloning and genetic engineering. To rely on something as chaotic as emotions was unthinkable. Intrigued, Kr'thaal delved deeper into historical data. Human populations had thrived despite wars, pandemics, and environmental disasters. Where other species might have succumbed to extinction, humans adapted. They found ways to survive and, more importantly, to thrive. It was as if the universe itself could not suppress their determination to persist. "This warrants further investigation," Kr'thaal concluded, their voice tinged with both curiosity and an unfamiliar sensation: admiration. Dr. Kr'thaal immersed themselves in the intricate details of human biology, hoping to uncover the secret behind their extraordinary fertility. The data revealed a species perfectly calibrated for survival and propagation, a stark contrast to most life forms in the galaxy. Human reproduction began with an efficiency rarely seen in advanced species. Unlike the cumbersome and energy-intensive methods employed by others, their system was simple yet effective. The pairing process involved biological compatibility, but it was not strictly dictated by genetic mandates or environmental cycles. Humans had the ability to reproduce year-round, an evolutionary advantage that allowed for flexible adaptation to changing circumstances. Their gestation period, while longer than some species, struck a balance between rapid reproduction and the development of complex neural structures. This allowed their offspring to be born with a remarkable degree of potential, even if initial independence was lacking. Human infants, while vulnerable, grew rapidly under the care of their parents and community, ensuring survival through collective effort. What truly astonished Dr. Kr'thaal was the human immune system. Unlike many species that required highly controlled environments to ensure the survival of their young, humans thrived in diverse and often hostile conditions. Their bodies were equipped with adaptive mechanisms that could fend off pathogens, heal injuries, and even evolve over generations to resist new threats. This biological resilience was unmatched in the galaxy, making them uniquely suited to conquer a wide range of environments. Beyond their physical traits, human ingenuity played a crucial role. Medical advancements had revolutionized their reproductive success, eradicating diseases that once threatened entire populations and developing technologies to assist with childbirth and fertility. They had even harnessed the ability to extend their reproductive viability, ensuring that more individuals could contribute to the population over longer spans of time. Yet, biology alone didn't explain the scale of their success. Humans possessed an innate adaptability that allowed them to modify not only their behavior, but their surroundings to ensure survival. Where other species struggled to colonize even a single planet, humans had transformed barren landscapes into thriving habitats. They engineered solutions for food scarcity, developed shelters to withstand extreme climates, and harnessed energy sources to power their societies, all factors that indirectly bolstered their reproductive capacity. Dr. Kr'thaal's tendrils twitched as they processed the data. Every piece of information seemed to defy the limitations imposed by evolutionary logic. How could one species balance such rapid growth with long-term survival? The answer lay in their unique combination of traits. Their biology was not merely about reproduction, but about ensuring that every new life had a high probability of flourishing. As the analysis continued, Kr'thaal couldn't ignore the implications. Humans were not just fertile, they were designed for persistence. Their ability to adapt, innovate, and protect their offspring at all costs made them a force unlike any other in the galaxy. This realization was both fascinating and unsettling. The more Kr'thaal learned, the more they began to see humanity not as an anomaly, but as a phenomenon, one that might reshape the balance of the cosmos itself. Dr. Kr'thaal found themselves captivated by the social dynamics of humanity. Their fascination grew as they uncovered the intricate web of relationships and emotional connections that underpinned human society. It became clear that human fertility wasn't just a biological phenomenon, it was deeply intertwined with their social structures and psychological traits. Unlike most species, where reproduction was often an isolated or instinct-driven act, humans approached it as part of a broader system of connection. Their capacity for forming lasting bonds, romantic, familial, and communal, was unprecedented in the galaxy. These bonds weren't merely functional, they were emotional, driven by an innate need for companionship and belonging. This emotional depth created a framework in which offspring were not just produced, but nurtured with extraordinary care and dedication. The concept of love, a term that surfaced repeatedly in human records, was particularly intriguing to Kr'thaal. Love appeared to serve as a binding agent, fostering cooperation and commitment between individuals. It wasn't limited to parental care. It extended to partnerships, friendships, and even entire communities. This emotional investment created an environment where children could thrive, supported by layers of protection and resources. What stood out most was humanity's ability to collaborate on a massive scale. While other species operated in small, insular groups, humans excelled at forming complex societies. These societies were built on shared goals, mutual aid, and a collective drive to improve their circumstances. Through this cooperation, humans had established systems like education, healthcare, and agriculture, all of which enhanced their reproductive success. The ability to share knowledge across generations ensured that each new cohort of offspring was better equipped to face challenges. Dr. Kr'thaal also noted humanity's remarkable resilience in the face of adversity. Human history was rife with conflicts, disasters, and hardships, yet their social fabric often strengthened under pressure. When faced with extinction-level threats, humans banded together, pooling their resources and ingenuity to ensure survival. This adaptability wasn't just physical, it was cultural and psychological, allowing them to overcome obstacles that would cripple most species. Another unique trait was humanity's willingness to sacrifice for the greater good. Stories of individuals risking their lives for their families, communities, or even strangers were common in their history. This selflessness, driven by empathy and a deep sense of responsibility, ensured the survival of not just individuals, but entire populations. Kr'thaal found this aspect both perplexing and awe-inspiring. In a galaxy where most species prioritized self-preservation above all else, humanity's altruism was an anomaly. As Kr'thaal delved deeper, they realized that human success couldn't be attributed solely to biology or technology. It was their emotional and social intelligence, their ability to form bonds, work together, and adapt to change, that set them apart. The scientist couldn't help but feel a growing admiration for the species. Humans weren't just surviving. They were thriving, driven by a combination of heart and mind that no other species could replicate. As Dr. Kr'thaal observed humanity's rapid expansion throughout the galaxy, a sense of both awe and unease began to grow. The implications of their fertility and adaptability were becoming clearer, yet the potential for both collaboration and conflict loomed large. Humanity's ability to spread across planets, thriving in environments where other species would falter, marked them as a force to be reckoned with. But their aggressive growth could also lead to friction with more established species, whose own resources and territories were at stake. Humanity's colonization efforts had already started to reshape entire planetary ecosystems. Where once barren, hostile worlds had been written off as uninhabitable, humans found ways to turn them into habitable environments. Using advanced terraforming techniques and their incredible capacity to adapt, humans transformed lifeless soil into thriving farmland and developed energy systems capable of sustaining entire cities. It wasn't just survival. Humans were making the inhospitable their new home, and in doing so, they were increasing their numbers at an exponential rate. But this expansion wasn't without its consequences. As humans spread out across the galaxy, some species began to view them with wariness, if not outright hostility. For many advanced civilizations, whose growth had plateaued due to environmental limitations or rigid cultural structures, the sudden rise of humanity posed a threat. The sheer speed with which humans colonized and altered ecosystems challenged the established order. There were whispers among galactic leaders about the potential for resource conflicts, particularly with species whose homeworlds were already struggling to sustain their populations. Yet, despite the potential for conflict, there were others who recognized the undeniable value of humanity's presence. Their ability to adapt quickly, innovate relentlessly, and create solutions to problems that other species had deemed insurmountable made them an attractive ally. Humans brought with them a fresh perspective, one that was unburdened by tradition or stagnation. They were open to new ideas, willing to form alliances with previously uncontacted species, and eager to share technology and knowledge in ways that benefited all involved. Humanity's impact on the galaxy was not just in their ability to reproduce at an astonishing rate, but in their potential to forge connections and transform entire regions. Their influence was becoming undeniable, and it wasn't just in terms of numbers or resources. They were changing the very fabric of galactic civilization. Where once there had been divisions based on species, planets, or ideologies, humanity's spirit of cooperation and exploration was starting to break down these barriers. However, Dr. Kr'thaal could not ignore the risks. The very qualities that made humans so successful could also lead to their downfall. Their rapid expansion, fueled by unchecked growth and resource demands, had the potential to strain the galaxy's ecosystems and create tensions with more established powers. There was also the ever-present possibility of self-destruction. Humanity's own history was filled with conflict, environmental degradation, and a tendency to push technological boundaries without fully understanding the consequences. The fear that they might inadvertently bring ruin upon themselves or others loomed large. But in the end, Dr. Kr'thaal couldn't dismiss the undeniable truth. Despite their flaws, humanity's fertility, adaptability, and drive to survive made them a unique force in the galaxy. Their capacity for innovation, cooperation, and emotional depth was unlike any other species. Whether they were seen as a threat or a boon, one thing was certain: humanity would shape the future of the galaxy in ways that no one could yet predict. Dr. Kr'thaal paused, their mind racing. The Zynth had long prided themselves on their ability to foresee patterns, to predict outcomes with precision. But humanity was different. They were unpredictable, their growth driven by factors that no calculation could fully capture. And that unpredictability made them, perhaps, the most important species the galaxy had ever encountered.